Dear friends, let's start with the key points that you will never forget about the chapter A Triumph of Surgery. And this will assure full marks in your upcoming examinations. Let's read about the author first, Mr. James Harriet. He was a veterinary surgeon and lived in Yorkshire Dales for almost 50 years. The story, A Triumph of Surgery, is about a dog named Tricky. The theme of the story is about the blind love that Mrs. Pumphrey has for her pet dog, Tricky. She had no idea that her pampering and extreme love would cause him trouble, and excessive love made Tricky sick and became a reason for his illness. We can conclude that overindulgence in any form can lead to extreme consequences. Now, the main points of the story: the doctor's concern for the dog. Dr. Harriet was really worried to see the dog Tricky, as he knew that Tricky has become very fat, his eyes have become red and roomy. Mrs. Pumphrey, the mistress of Tricky, had been overfeeding him with malt, cod liver oil, and bowl of Horlicks again and again, as she believed that Tricky has been suffering from underfeeding and he is malnutrition. But the doctor advises Mrs. Pumphrey that the only fault of Tricky was his greed for food, and he also suggested to cut down his food intake and give him daily exercises. But Mrs. Pumphrey gave no heed to doctor's advice. What exactly happened at last? Within a few days, the doctor received a call from Mrs. Pumphrey, as Tricky was not eating anything and kept vomiting. He laid down panting and couldn't go for a walk also. Dr. Harriet suggested that Tricky must be hospitalized because that was his plan of action. Now, what happened to Tricky at this surgery? You can also call it hospital. So, at this surgery, the household dogs surged around Dr. Harriet and Tricky, looked silently at them like motionless on the carpet, as Tricky was new to that place. He was not mingled up with those dogs. He was a pet dog, a precious dog of Mrs. Pumphrey, and he was not allowed to move and mingled up with the stray dogs outside. For 2 days, Dr. Harriet kept an eye on Tricky and gave him no food but plenty of water. So this treatment was given to the dog. Next day, the doctor was pleased to see Tricky jostling his way to his food bowl. No medical treatment was given to Tricky. This point has to be noted. Though he was in hospital, but no treatment was given to him. He was only kept on diet, strict diet. So the results were visible after 2 days itself. You can see in the picture that he was befriended with other dogs, and Tricky's progress was rapid and he started running with the dogs. Dr. Harriet informed Mrs. Pumphrey that Tricky was out of danger and was recovering rapidly. But then what happened to Mrs. Pumphrey? She became conscious and she thought now at this point of time Tricky would be needing eggs, wine and brandy again to get some strength. But that was not the fact actually. She provided and supplied all those things to the doctor. But exactly what happened with those things, the eatables, all were consumed by a doctor and his assistant only, because they were not useful for Tricky at all. So soon she was informed that Tricky had recovered and could go home. Mrs. Pumphrey was so grateful to Dr. Harriet. Within 2 weeks, Tricky had been transformed into a flexible and hard-muscled animal. When Tricky saw his mistress, he leaped to her lap. Mrs. Pumphrey thanked Dr. Harriet with her lips trembling and tears shining in her eyes, and she called Tricky's recovery a triumph of surgery, and that is the title of this chapter as well. Now you can see Tricky's transformation. A couch potato dog has been turned into the muscled one. You can see the transformation in the next picture also. Now we can discuss character sketch of Mrs. Pumphrey. She was a rich and resourceful lady, passionately attached to her little pet dog Tricky. She used to over pamper Tricky like a spoiled child. She thanked Tricky to be suffering from malnutrition. She thinks Tricky to be suffering from malnutrition, so overfeeds him. She got worried about Tricky's failing health, but it was not the failing health. It was only the overindulgence and greed of the dog. She was impractical and very compassionate and caring. She was grateful and thanked Dr. Harriet for saving Tricky's life. Now we can also write down the pointers for Tricky. Tricky was a small dog, greedy for food as we all are, becomes a victim of overindulgence and overfeeding, transformed into a flexible and hard-muscled dog, displayed his love for his mistress by jumping onto her lap when she comes to collect him from the hospital. Now, the pointers, the adjectives for Dr. James Harriet. He was a competent veterinary surgeon, very sensible, practical and pragmatic. He is genuinely concerned about Tricky. He is tactful as well as full of common sense. He cured Tricky without any medical treatment, and he was compassionate about helping animals. Now, what values we can get by reading this chapter? And you will definitely get value-based question in class 10 CBSE board examination. So, just be able to explain these values in a good 100 to 120 words answer. So, what are these values? Excessive pampering and indulgence causes harm. One should not be extravagant with resources and money, and some problems can be solved with pragmatism. That means thinking, deep thinking. So now the other values that we can find, ability is what you are capable of doing. As Tricky was capable of doing anything, but he was limited. He was limited by all those things by the mistress itself. Motivation determines what you do, so he gave him that motivation, Dr. Harriet. And attitude determines how well you do it. As he was passionate about his health, he wanted to be cured, he wanted to be happy and healthy, and Dr. Harriet was the mentor of him. So let's come to the ending part of this video. These are some questions that you can practice at home and write down the answer in the comment box. So let's finish this up, and we will have a word-to-word explanation of this chapter in the next video. Have a great day. Have a good learning. Thank you.